Welcome back to In Focus Kentucky. On this episode, we're breaking down Kentucky's House Bill 487, which broadens the base sales tax in our state by now including select services previously exempt from taxation. And joining me now to discuss how the new tax will affect small businesses is the state director of the National Federation of Independent Business, Tom Underwood. Thanks so much for joining us here on In Focus Kentucky.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And explain for our viewers what your organization advocates for throughout the country, but also specifically here in the Bluegrass State.
Well, NFIB is the largest lobby specifically for the small business community. We have 6,000 members across the state in Kentucky. Our average member has 3 to 5 employees. So we're the true Main Street mom and pop businesses across the state.
And I know that we've read some quotes that on your end that says that the Kentucky state budget has been balanced on the backs of small businesses. So explain to us what your perspective is on that.
Well, the perspective is that if you look at the selected sales taxes that they have, services they have taxed, not one of them is a large business. They are all small businesses that were picked out one by one and chosen to be taxed. And we don't think that's fair. When 487 passed, it went from a one-page bill to over 400 pages in one day. No opportunities for testimony, no opportunities for public comment, and it was on the governor's desk before it got dark. And we don't think that's fair.
Explain just how much a tax increase like this one affects small businesses more than a larger type of business.
Anytime that you increase the price of a service, you are going to lose some people from purchasing that. That's basic economics. You raise the price on anything, you're going to have a loss in sales. In this situation, we have an increase in price with no benefit from the increased cost. In fact, you've got a cost now to comply with this, and the Revenue Cabinet now has the opportunity to come do a sales tax audit on these businesses, which you'd be better off doing your own tonsillectomy. It would be more fun than having a sales tax audit.
Now, on your end, with the when this law was put into place, a lot of phone calls, emails from different small businesses that you were representing that were not happy with this new law?
The first part of this law was actually in House Bill 366, which passed with about 5 days left in the session. We did ask, and the governor did grant us a veto on House Bill 366, which carried all this service tax language. Unfortunately, the bill was overridden by one vote, and then 487 came in to fix problems in 366. They went back and added another 100 pages to 366 because there were so many things wrong with that bill. And here we have another one that's got problems, concerns. It's going to be difficult for people to comply.
And what about for entrepreneurs who are looking into potentially creating their own business, starting from the ground up? In your opinion, would this new tax discourage entrepreneurs from wanting to get started?
It's one more piece of bureaucracy that they'll have to add to trying to start up a business, which is the hardest thing in the world. And a big problem with it too is how unclear it is. We heard earlier that the cabinet is actually making choices on what to do. They don't have regulations that have been published, which are required by KRS 13A that they do those before they impose this. How do you tell the difference? For example, they've just put out language that says they will be requiring Uber drivers to file sales tax and collect it, but only if they're using luxury cars because they're deeming those to be limousines. How can you possibly figure out and comply? What is it? Is an Avalon versus a Camry a luxury car? We're going to have some messes on that kind of thing. We've got situations where in auto repair, if you bought a service contract before July 1, 2018, then any services on repairs are not subject to the tax. But if you got the extended warranty after July 1, the services have to be collected on. And if they do a repair that doesn't involve any parts, there's no sales tax on that. Now, how on earth is an auto repair shop supposed to keep up with that paperwork and remain in compliance? The audits will be a nightmare.
So the law is in effect as of July 1st. So what's next with your on your end of moving forward with this?
I think you're going to find that there's sections in the law that are already being debated to be changed, particularly with the large corporations and their single factor filing. Some of the largest corporations in the state got caught in this, and it was surprised to the General Assembly after the fact. And it's costing those businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional taxes. There is a change coming for them, I am told. We will be opening this back up in January, and we're going to be calling on the small business community to pick up the phone and call the 138 members of the General Assembly and tell them it's not fair, for example, that somebody brings in their bulldog and the veterinary service is taxable, but if you bring in your buffalo, it's not. That is a random division of a classification for taxation, which is unconstitutional under Kentucky's laws.
And in your experience, have you seen similar sales tax that's been put in place in either other areas of the country that you've seen at all?
A number of years ago, Florida imposed a sales tax on services, and it was so unpopular and such a disaster that it was repealed within months. Kansas had a similar situation where they tried to do this, and their revenue system turned into a mess. If we don't sit down and talk to the stakeholders and have the opportunity for the people that are in businesses in my organization to say what's going to work, what's going to be a problem, and come with some clear rules first, then we're going to have a mess on our hands.
For people that want to learn more information about the organization, how do they do that?
They can go to nfib.org as our website, and they can click down to all the different states and see the things we're doing on the national level.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us and explaining your perspective on the small business side of this issue.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now, coming up, we'll meet with the Kentucky Nonprofit Network, who has provided resources to help nonprofit organizations deal with the new increase in state tax. Stick with us. You're watching In Focus Kentucky.